Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. She's back. Wagwan family, you don't know it's your girl LinQz here, and welcome back to Mek We Chat. We always talk about the thing that when people don't want to talk about. Shout out to everybody tuning in. Amy, Abua. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, family. We here to talk about the things people don't want to talk about. It's Mek We Chat. So, you know how I like to start the show. I always like some type of musical interlude to kind of set a vibe. So let's start off this way today. This is Sata Amasagana from the Abyssinians. Classical reggae music, yeah?
There is a land far, far away, where there's no night, there's only day.
When it's nice, we gotta play it twice like sugar and spice. Musical hits to make you jump, twist, and turn like your skin get burned. Oh yeah?
There is a land far, far away, where there's no night, there's only day. Look into the book of life and you will see that there's a land far, far away. That there's a land far, far away.
Shout outs to everybody tuning in. Where you from? Where you from? Tell us where you're tuned in from. Ras Bagel, big up yourself, King. She's back.
Look into the book of life and you will see that He rules us all. That He rules us all.
Go ahead and tap up the screen, family. Like and share, like and share. Come Mek We Chat.
The King of Kings and the Lord.
Shout outs to Ras Bagel in the chat room. Brendan, big up yourself. Yeah, man, Rasta energy, you see it.
Look into the book of life and you will see that He rules us all. That He
Come on, family, go ahead and tap the screen, share the live and tap the screen. Let's try get up to 200 likes.
far, far away, where there's no night, there's only day. Look into the book of life and you will see
That there's a land far, far away.
that there's a land far, far away. Sata Amasagana, La Amlai. Ooh, Lagi. Sata Amasagana, La Amlai.
Here with the king said, let's try get it to 10K likes, family. Let's push up those likes. We at 200. Woo! Let's see if we can make it to 1,000. Yes, family, you don't know. It's Mek We Chat. We're here to talk about the things them that nobody wants to talk about, and we talk about it plain and straight. But of course, we always Want to give our tributes to the greats in music. And so I'm starting off with a little musical interlude before we get into the talking. Yeah?
Wondering how to turn paperwork into the easiest part of your day? Well, then it's time you met PandaDoc, a simple, intuitive document management solution for creating, signing, and tracking any kind of agreement.
Spice. Musical hits to make you jump and twist. Whoa. Shout outs to everybody tuning in the live room. Where you from? Where you from? Send out your flag. Show me where you're from. Okay, we got Brazil in the building. Canada in the building. I see you. Jamaica in the building. I see you.
This heart is broken in two. Tell her it's a case of emergency.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We hit 1K likes, family. We hit 1K. We're on the road to 10K likes. Let's do it, family. Tap that screen and share the live. Share the live. Rasta energy, you know? Big ups to Sandra tuning in. Yeah, I see you.
I don't wanna see no doc. I need attendance from my nurse around the clock. Cause there's no prescription for me. She's the one.
Hold up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Come Mek We Chat. This is the show where we talk the thing that when nobody no want talk about, and we talk it plain and straight. No holds barred. So go ahead and tap the screen, family, tap the screen. It's Black History Month. It's Black History Month. So we're gonna start with Black History Month, and I'm here in Canada. Shout outs to everybody in Canada, everybody in Jamaica, everybody in the UK, all over the world. Big up yourself. We're gonna start with Canada Day, and the best place to talk from is the government's website, and it says each February people across Canada participate in Black History Month events and celebrations that honor the legacy and contributions of Black people in Canada and their communities. The 2025 theme for Black History Month is Black Legacy and Leadership, celebrating history and uplifting future generations. This theme acknowledges the diversity of Black Canadians, the importance of Black leadership, and the legacy being built for future generations. All things I love to talk about. This theme, Black communities are diverse at many levels. Those with a long history in this country have established a legacy for the newer communities. The theme underscores that Black Canadians have a rightful place in the nation's narrative with over 400 years of historical presence on these Indigenous lands, deserving acknowledgement and celebration. We invite all Canadians to learn more about Black Canadian communities and how they continue to help shape Canada. On that note, as much as they're right, they're not completely right. Because some of the Black people on this side of the earth are indigenous. And a part of slavery was to help mask that. But moving on. Because as you know, we're not here to sit on the negatives today. We're here to talk about the positives. So we're talking Black History Month. And a great thing happened in Bradford. Bradford finally raised the black flag in the middle of town. Counselor Sheraldine Duhaney said, "Their sacrifices paved the way for us, and it's our responsibility to continue their legacy. Challenges will come," which is true. "Some will be difficult, but we will overcome them." In the words of just Jean Augustine, one of my most cherished people in this country, Black history is Canadian history, and let's not forget that. Now, getting back to what I was speaking about previously in regards to being indigenous, there was a time when black people were labeled as Indian. This was before colonialism. This was before. Matter of fact, African people were labeled as Indian at one point in time. And there was a great shift that changed that narrative from Indian to black. Because, of course, if you're Indian, that makes you Aboriginal. And that affords you certain rights. And so, the term black or Negro was established in order to take away your rights as an indigenous person. But let's get back to the positive news. So, an evening of history and culture and fashion at the Royal BC Museum, where they showcased an all-black fashion show for Black History Month. Thank you very much for that, BC. We appreciate love. The event was a great success, and feel free to read for yourself how well it was. 4 local designers were featured: Kiara Jeanette at Et Designs, Emmanuel Oki, Udama Fashion, Jumoki Brown at Root Wata, and Daniel Matthew at Kalili Creations. And the show was an amazing success. I'm happy that the museum decided to participate in that. Yeah. But, you know, like I said, it's Black History Month. There was another artist here I wanted to play. But, it seems as though the internet is playing with me today. But that's quite fine. It can only play so long. So what I really wanted to do is find another song for y'all that kind of sums up how I'm feeling today. Let me see if I could pull it up here for you. Again, go ahead, tap the screen. We just starting to talk. We about to get into politics next. We gonna talk about how are we gonna make Canada make sense again. I've been talking about this for so long, and now they've gone ahead and they've sent everybody a little $200 check. It's almost like a bribe, isn't it? You're sending us $200 and then you call in an election within the 2 month period right after. Like, I don't know. Somebody trying to take somebody for a fool. I didn't know that Canada had that type of politics. You know? I really didn't. And this song here is kind of the song that comes to mind
If you're over
when you
55 in
think of
Canada and don't have a
a
funeral
sticky
coverage plan,
situation or a calamity of some sorts. This is the song that comes to mind.
What a situation. Only you know.
What a situation.
Why there cannot be no more peace on earth. Days gone by.
When it's nice, we gotta play it twice. Musical hits to make you jump, twist, and turn.
What a situation.
What a situation.
Only you know.
Vernon Buckley, you know?
Why there cannot be no more peace on earth. Days gone by, life was so beautiful.
Y'all go ahead and tap those screens. Share the live.
There were no
Like the live. We do it different round here. I'll come Mek We Chat.
and unity. Why can't it be peace and harmony? And we know that war ain't putting us away. 'Cause when you walk, all you see is pure bloodshed. My best friend gone 6'6" under the earth. Oh, Father, I can't stand to see my people dying. I'm crying. Every morning I pick up the daily news. Another one is dead. Oh, you dread. Oh, Jah, what a situation. So much changes. Days gone by. Life was so beautiful. There were no war, only love and unity. Why can't it be peace and harmony? Yes, and we know that war ain't putting us nowhere.
Yes, family.
Oh, Almighty One.
What a problem. What a problem. And so, to close off Black History Month, I think the best person to do that, or the best demographics to do that, are the children.
Black History Month. Each year in Canada, February marks Black History Month. By the name, you could probably guess that Black History Month is all about celebrating the history of Black Canadians, right? Well, yes, but the conversation is deep. So, let's get into it. This is Can Explains Black History Month. Okay, so here we are in 2022, celebrating the 27th anniversary of Black History Month in Canada.
2025.
So if I do some quick math, that means Black History Month started in 1995? Well, kind of. I mean, officially in Canada, yes. But its history goes back much farther than that, and takes us to a different country. Black History Month has its origins in the United States, and goes all the way back to 1926. A historian named Carter G. Woodson proposed creating a dedicated time to celebrate African Americans and heighten awareness of Black history. And he was a pretty big deal at the time. Woodson was only the second African American to earn his PhD from the prestigious Harvard University. What he started was something called Negro History Week, and it was celebrated until the 1970s when it became Black History Week. And then, in 1976, it became Black History Month. Pretty cool, but that's a whole lot of American history. Canadians were celebrating Black History Month as well, but it wasn't until 1995 that things became official. Now, here's a name everyone should know.
1995, and we way back.
Jean Augustine. She is the main person responsible for getting Black History Month into
I
the
love this
Canadian
woman.
government. She is the first Black Canadian woman ever elected to Parliament. And in 1995, she put forth a motion to officially recognize February as Black History Month. It was passed unanimously. And not trying to brag here or anything, but I've actually met her. I was on an intergenerational panel for Black History Month with her. And yeah, she is as cool as she sounds. But it wasn't until 2008 that the Senate officially approved it. Senator Donald Oliver, the first Black man to sit in the Canadian Senate, introduced a motion that also received unanimous approval, completing Canada's parliamentary position on Black History Month. Okay, so we're done talking about how it began. Now, let's talk about Black history. When we talk about Black history, we are really talking about the history of Canada, or as Crystal Webster, an assistant professor of history at the University of British Columbia, puts it,
Black history is not distinct from Canadian history or from history of North America. It really is integral to this history. It's impossible to teach about the history of Canada without talking about not only Black contributions, but also the ways in which Canada should have done better and can continue to do better.
Often when we talk about Black history
Amen.
and tell the story of Black people in North America, there's a focus on enslavement and the story of enslaved people. And Dr. Webster says that is important.
It gives us the space to think about Canada's relationship to Black oppression and the fact that slavery did exist in Canada.
But it is also important to understand that this is part of the Black history in Canada, not the whole story. Or, as Christopher Taylor, an assistant professor of history at the University of Waterloo, puts it,
if this is something that you're only being exposed to for these 28 or 29 days, you're going to think that all Black people, our history begins with enslavement, begins with police shootings, begins with, this, what we call the dehumanization. So the world sees us as lesser than somebody else. However, when we're talking about Black History Month, we can actually use this as an opportunity to start just enjoying Black culture.
there are some amazing heroes throughout Black history in Canada. Take Marianne Shadd, for example. In 1853, she became the first Black woman to publish a newspaper in North America. Her paper, The Provincial Freeman, was an anti-slavery publication, and she was vital in giving a voice to Black people. And she's just one example. There are so many amazing people throughout Black history in Canada. like LinQz, who in 1866, in what is now British Columbia, became the first black person to be elected to public office. Or Willie O'Ree, who broke the color barrier in hockey when he became the first black person to play in the NHL. Another interesting part of Black history in Canada is the idea that it represents the stories of the entire Black community.
We say Black History Month, Black community, as if Black people are just one thing. We completely ignore those so many differences between Black communities. Especially in Canada, we think, okay, well, if you're Black, you speak English, but if you're Black, you can speak Arabic, speak French, Spanish, Portuguese, all as your first language. We all didn't come from Jamaica. You didn't come from Antigua, Anguilla, Cuba, Ghana, Nigeria. Even if you came from Nigeria, you could be Igbo, you could be Yoruba.
In Canada, there's a wide range of notable Black communities throughout our history, like Africville in Halifax, Little Burgundy in Montreal, North Buxton in Ontario, Amber Valley in Alberta, Hogan's Alley in Vancouver. Each of these communities have their own stories, backgrounds, and diversity that makes up the Black community in Canada. Okay, but Black History Month isn't only about the past. Lots of people are talking about the present and the future. Let's start with the future. There is an idea called Black Futures Month, and the idea is to draw focus during February to what is happening now in Canada and where it's going. At the University of Windsor, for example, they are celebrating something called Black History and Black Futures, and Miriam Tolson-Rudy is directing the celebration.
I thought it was really important to establish a committee to talk not just about Black history, but Black futures. Black History Month isn't just about celebrating the history, it's about celebrating the present and the future.
And a huge part of celebrating Black futures is young people. Just like we talked about heroes throughout Black history in Canada, part of celebrating Black futures is talking about young heroes who are making a difference today. Like 16-year-old Kayla Escoffery, for example. She's a member of an organization called Black York Region Youth,
which is a program designed to combat anti-Black racism in the York region, but also across the GTA.
She is also the founder of the Black Student Association at her high school, and founded her own nonprofit called Young Melanin and Feminine, which
first began with just the conversation. So we brought all these Black girls together over a Zoom, and we just started talking about hair and representation and colorism. And it was a way for them to connect and have a community around them. What do we want to see happen in the world, as well as what can we do as Black girls ourselves to make a difference in the world as well?
She thinks it's important for young people to start making their own history.
I think it's important that youth make sure that their voices are heard, but I also think it's also the duty of adults to look for kids and ask for their opinions and
Absolutely,
their voice as well.
you need that
And
adult
Dr. Taylor
guidance.
says there's another way you can celebrate Black History Month in a more contemporary and personal way.
One thing we need to understand is that whatever happened yesterday is history. Whatever happened a week ago is history. Whatever is going to happen tomorrow is the future. Your teachers, your coaches, your tutors, they're all a part of Black history. So these are what I want people to understand, to write down these stories, listen to these stories. You don't have to have a famous name out there, but everybody's very important. Your family, your parents, your guardians, your siblings, you are a part of Black history.
And as amazing as it is for there to be an official month to celebrate Black history and the contributions of Black Canadians, many people think there needs to be a more sustained focus beyond the month of February.
And I think that that's such an important conversation for us to have year round, like you said, and that the people are doing the work year round, and we really want to celebrate that. Young people.
I think that's the best place to leave it, is that we really want to celebrate young people and celebrate what they're doing now. It's not all about what happened in the past, it's about what are we doing in the future and what are we doing now for this generation. Because we can't depend on social media or public figures to to teach our kids, our youth, what's right from wrong. We see how they live their we can't afford to do that to our future. We can't afford to let fame, celebrity, status have any impact on the decisions that our children make on what's best for them. Because it's not great for the actual star or entertainer or whatever. We see their life is a hot mess. We don't want to do that to our own children. And with that thought in mind, that brings me to my next topic. So it looks like we're going to be going to elections. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to elections. We're going into an election. Apparently, $200 is enough to influence our vote. Or at least this is what it looks like local politicians in Ontario think. So let's get on the campaign trail. Find out what's going on with our so-called future. Right? So as we know, elections are about to start. I believe they're coming up on the 21st of this month, 22nd if I'm not mistaken, sometime soon. First of all, did you get your $200? Did everybody get their check? Oh, just checking. So Doug Ford is running for Ontario. Bonnie Crombie is running, Marit Stiles and Mike Schreiner. And I guess they're having a debate on the 27th of this month. So no, I'm guessing maybe the elections is the 21st of next month. Be advised, you can vote. You can request a mail-in ballot if you're unable to make it on that day. So let's see what's going on. They be killing you with these commercials, eh? Wow.
Another jam-packed day for provincial party leaders along Ontario's election campaign trail. PC leader Doug Ford starting his day in Scarborough, where he reiterated his promise to build a traffic and transit tunnel under Highway 401 that would extend beyond Brampton and Mississauga in the west.
A traffic and transit. Hold on a second. Let's start with traffic. Because I recall that the city I'm in used to have 4 lanes. Now, those same streets have 2 lanes and a bike lane. Make it make sense. This is the episode of where I ask, please make it make sense. So you took 4 lanes of completely functional road to make 1 lane and a bike lane. Doesn't that affect traffic? Anyway, let's continue to listen.
And Markham and Scarborough in the east.
To get Ontario moving, to keep people working, to make our businesses and economy more competitive, and ensure that drivers spend less time in gridlock.
Hold up. Let me pull this up because anytime I try and play a video of him, it freezes. So let's let it stream a little bit and then we'll hit it.
To get Ontario moving, to keep people working, to make our businesses and economy more competitive, and ensure that drivers.
So what I'm getting here is you want us to work more for the same money, for the same rent, for the same mortgage, same employment taxes, same housing taxes, same land taxes. How does that make us better? But continue.
Spend less time in gridlock, more time with their families.
Ford committing to the 401 Express Tunnel, which he says would be the largest.
So you want to build a highway under the highway. You've reduced streets. You've put in these bike lanes that are only useful part of the year, because anybody with a right mind is not riding their bike in the winter, not with that ice. So make that make sense. Now you want to build a highway under the highway. How much traffic delay is it going to cost to build that highway? How much backup is there going to be, not only on the highway, but through the city for people trying to detour that? And how much money is that going to cost? And who is going to get the job?
Largest infrastructure project in North America without cost estimates or completed feasibility studies. He then spent the afternoon in North York, where he received.
So you're saying all of this, and you don't have any budgets, no paperwork to tell us how much it's going to cost? Do we really want that?
Received an endorsement from the Operative Plasterers and Cement Masons International Association.
More healthcare for you.
So you got an offer from a union, Cement and Plasterers Union.
Ontario Liberal leader Bonnie Crombie was in Thunder Bay, where she received a tour of Confederation College before reiterating her pledge to get every Ontarian a family doctor.
You shouldn't have to go to a walk-in clinic. You shouldn't have to go to the emergency ward of our hospitals, putting more stress on our hospitals. You should have access to primary care.
I agree. That's the first thing I've heard that makes some sense. It's almost as though they're purposefully creating issues at the hospitals. And the issue is not that the doctors are inefficient or that there's a lack of workers. It's that they're not willing to pay them. But I'm sure when they get sick, they're going to need them. So, this is just my opinion. To be a suitable candidate, you need to be thinking about three things: health, work, family. Health, work, family. That's it. All of this worry about all of these other things is irrelevant. Well, home, sorry. Home is very important as well. Where do you live? But let's continue.
In your community, and we will make sure that that is the case.
It's time that the people of the Sioux and all across the North got the respect and the care that they deserve.
NDP
Again. That's 2 out of 3 who recognize that healthcare is an issue. Now, if you are a political candidate and you recognize that it's an issue, why doesn't the person at the head of the ship not see that?
Leader Marit Stiles also speaking on healthcare in Sault Ste. Marie. She pledged to add 3,500 doctors to the primary care system over the next 4 years, 350 of which would be in Northern Ontario.
It's a major shift that will make it easier and faster to get the care that you need.
Over in Parry Sound, Green Party leader Mike Schreiner announcing his plan to address the affordability crisis.
We will cut income taxes for individuals earning under $65,000 a year and families earning under $100,000 a year.
Schreiner says he plans on a...
Now that sounds reasonable. But that's it. Just an employment cut. I mean, nothing about health. Nothing about homes, housing.
Affording the cuts by raising taxes on the highest income earning tax bracket. Megan King, Global News, Toronto.
And so as we move along the campaign trail, I decided to figure out, what are they doing today? What is Mike Schreiner doing today?
Party Mike Schreiner. So let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Schreiner. He won the leadership of the Green Party in 2009, and 9 years later, nine's his lucky number, he won a seat in the Ontario legislature for the riding of Guelph. He had a life before politics, running his own local food company. He was born in Kansas and has an MA in history from Indiana University and degrees in history and business administration from the University of Kansas. Now, this is his 4th appearance at the Democracy Forum, so welcome back, Mr. Schreiner.
Hey, Martin, it's a pleasure to join you, and I just want to thank TMU for hosting the Democracy Forum.
So I'm going to kick it off with the questions to get us rolling. Then we'll open it up to the audience later, so start thinking up your own questions. You can use the Q&A function on Zoom. If you are watching through Zoom, if you're on YouTube, you can just listen and include your name if you want me to give you a shout out. I like to remind people that this is not a news conference or a confrontation. It's a democracy forum where we try to dig a little deeper to get more in-depth answers from our guests. And Mike, it's an election, so people are really looking for answers. So let's dive in. For the record, Mike, you hold the record for our most frequent guest on the Democracy Forum. We do not neglect the Green Party. This is appearance number 4. That makes you very democratic. So thanks. And in fact, you'll recall that I think you're the only surviving leader who was a guest at our very first Democracy Forum before the 2018 election, when we had all the major party leaders, including the Premier of the day, talking about democratic engagement. But your most recent appearance was just before the 2022 election, just 3.5 years ago. And you'll remember that the topic of that event was, who can defeat Doug Ford? And that's an important question that's on the minds of a lot of voters, not policy or personalities, but who can defeat Doug Ford? Who can get it done, as Mr. Premier would say. He's not the Premier right now. He's the caretaker. So my question to you is, all these years later, the other opposition leaders, the other party leaders of the NDP and Liberals, they're gone. They were wrong because they said they could defeat Doug Ford. So tell us today, who can defeat Doug Ford?
The voters of Ontario can defeat Doug Ford, and they'll have the opportunity to make that decision on February 27th and in the days ahead of time if they want to do advanced voting. I would say from a party standpoint, I think all 3 opposition parties have strengths in different parts of the province that will put pressure on the Ford government. And I would say when it comes to the Ontario Greens, our strength lies in a number of rural ridings that feel abandoned by the Ford government because of the Premier and caretaker mode's focus on wasting money on things in Toronto that people in Toronto don't even want. $2.2 billion for the mega spa, $40 million ripping up bike lanes, tens of billions of dollars with this ridiculous idea of tunneling under the 401, building Highway 413. We have a perfectly good highway right next to it. And people in rural ridings like Perry Sound-Muskoka, Wellington, Halton Hills, Bruce Grey, Owen Sound, Dufferin, Caledon, we're running strong local candidates.
I agree. We're spending tons of money on stuff that makes no sense. Why are we doing that? Why? Why are we wasting our time on this? It shouldn't even be an issue.
Saying, how come the Premier's not spending money on keeping our roads and bridges fixed? How come the Premier's not spending money on affordable housing in our riding? What about healthcare? Emergency departments are being closed in rural communities. Students are learning in overcrowded
I like this
classrooms.
guy.
Those voters are saying we're tired of Conservatives taking us for granted, and we're looking for other options like the Green Party.
So that's a really good overview. Not surprising because you're in campaign form, and that's great. That is democracy. But I'm not going to let you off the hook because, in a way, you're best placed to give us a little more objective response to that question. Because I don't think you're running to be Premier. You're, I think, too candid about that. You're running to win as many seats as you can. So tell us, you're right, the voters can do it. Which party leader would you say, or which party do you think is best placed to defeat Doug Ford?
I think it'll be a combination of all 3 of the opposition parties. I mean, obviously, the NDP, it has strengths in certain parts of the province, and I look at places like Windsor, London, Niagara, and the GTA. Liberals have strengths in certain parts of the province, looking at Ottawa and the GTA, and Greens have strengths in certain parts of the province, Guelph, Kitchener. And a number of rural ridings. And I think it can be a combination of how the votes break down in a number of those ridings. And, we could be looking at the possibility of a minority government. And then that's going to create a whole host of...
That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement. I agree with what he's saying. None of them are looking at your complete way of life. None of them are looking at employment, housing, living, health, the major things. I like that. But I hope it's not just talk.
host of other conversations, but at the end of the day, it's going to be how effective I am as the Ontario Green leader and the local candidates we have who are running good campaigns in those are, and I would say the same for the other parties and the other opposition leaders.
Okay, you've opened up a quick opening for me that a question I asked you last time and that I asked the other leaders last week. I think I know the answer, but let's just get you on the record. If there is a minority government, if your hope, I won't say it's prediction, comes true, you would work with the other parties and you would presumably not prop up Doug Ford's Tories if you somehow held the balance of power. Not impossible, because it happened in British Columbia. Your answer?
Yeah, I mean, the Greens in British Columbia have held the balance of power after 2 elections now, along with the NDP in British Columbia. So it's certainly, a possibility. That's obviously voters are going to make that decision. Greens have always had a history of willingly working across party lines to get things done for people. We would continue that. I think it would be very challenging for us to think of working in coalition with a Ford government, given the fact that he's dismantled all the climate programs in Ontario, the $8.3 billion Greenbelt scandal, the attack on Ontario farmland, Highway 413, paving over 400 acres of Greenbelt, 2,000 acres of prime farmland. I think there's a whole host of issues that would be very challenging for us to agree with the Conservatives on. Exactly. But we're certainly open to working across party lines with the other opposition parties if that's the kind of government the people of Ontario choose.
Can I get a little more precision from you?
So that's Mike Schreiner.
Is it possible that you would prop up the Ford government, or that's not a possibility and you'd be happy to work with the others? Let's just be clear.
I think it's highly unlikely that I would work with the Ford government, given the government's record. I can see where we could find commonalities with the other 2 opposition parties.
So that's Mike Schreiner, family. Let's move on to the next candidate. So the next candidate is Bonnie Crombie. Let's hear what she got to say.
Well, hello, everyone. Really delighted you could all be here. It's really great to be here at George Brown College with so many young people. I have 3 of my own at home, so I'm missing that vibe of being with young people regularly. And I'm here, I hope, to restore some hope. What I'm going to say is under the Doug Ford government, you've really been left behind. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that our young people are getting screwed.
That's the truth.
The promise of home ownership is disappearing. You can't find a family doctor. You are saddled with student debt. You can't afford your rent and your groceries. Some of you are still living with your parents because you can't afford to be out of your parents' home. In fact, you're missing life.
She's talking the truth.
And I will say that it's totally unacceptable. Doug Ford has failed our young people. Our unemployment rate for young people is 17%.
17%. Now imagine going to university, getting Imagine going to university, graduating, getting your degree, and you have no job. You have no job.
Really been left behind. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that our young people are getting screwed. You know, the hope, the promise of home ownership is disappearing. You can't find a family doctor. You are saddled with student debt. You know, you can't afford your rent and your groceries. Some of you are still living with your parents because you can't afford to be out of your parents' home. In fact, you're missing life's milestones. And I will say that it's totally unacceptable. Doug Ford has failed our young people. Our unemployment rate for young people is 17%, and for me,
Unacceptable.
that is unacceptable.
But what are
We
you doing about
a
it?
generation of kids who are getting left behind. In fact, I also know many of you have been told if you want to be successful, you have to leave the province. For me, that's unacceptable. So today, I want to offer you something tangible. I want to restore hope and jobs, and I want to smash the unemployment rate in half.
How will you do
Ontario's
that?
Liberals have a plan
How's she
to
gonna
smash
do
our
that?
unemployment rate in half. We're also going to ensure that you have
That's
a
all I
family
want to
doctor.
know. How are you going to do that?
And we're also going to promise you that you won't be saddled with student loans and student debt. This government said it couldn't get done, but we know that it can. And we're going to bring back a measure of affordability, and we're going to ensure that you have access to jobs, real jobs, well-paying jobs.
I like that.
And I think that's the difference between our approach to dealing with a crisis that our young people are facing. Ontario Liberals will ensure that this generation of youth is not left behind and that jobs are created especially for you. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to take your questions.
Amazing. So we will do one question, one follow-up, and if folks could state their name and outlet, that'd be fantastic as well.
So that was Bonnie Crombie. So we've heard from Mike Schreiner, Bonnie Crombie, Bonnie Crombie, and now we're gonna hear from Doug Ford.
Neil Harrington, Senior Vice President of the Americas at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I'm thrilled to welcome all of you today, beginning with the Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of the great province of Ontario. Premier, it's so great to have you with us. And I want to thank all of our distinguished visitors from Ontario, beginning with the Premier, for helping us make the case that this event should actually take place given the current inclement weather forecast. We have a rather dubious track record here of closing things down at the mere hint of light precipitation. So we made the case that we convinced the powers that be that if we canceled today's event, we would only be a laughing stock in front of our truly hardy northern neighbors. So here we are. Seriously, it really is a privilege to welcome so many great friends back to Washington. I want to start with the Premier and his team, Ministers Fedeli and Lecce, who are regulars here on the circuit in Washington, which is a great thing. The action's all happening here, right? So good to have you guys. I haven't seen him, but I'm pretty sure he's here. Goldie Hyder, who obviously are the champion of our Business Council of Canada, and the great group of CEOs he brings with him. There he is. He shouldn't be in the back. Come on, come find your seat up here. And then with him is a great group of CEOs with the Business Council, one of whom is Rob Wildeboer, the chairman and co-founder of the great Ontario company Martin Rea, which has a huge footprint in all 3 North American countries and chairs our US-Mexico CEO dialogue too. I want to also welcome Dan Tish, our counterpart in the Ontario Provincial Chamber of Commerce, and of course, David Patterson and his great team at the province's office here at the Embassy in Canada. So speaking of friendship, I'd like to start there in my brief remarks, introduction of the Premier. We understand that some in Canada question whether America still cherishes the bonds that over time have made us the best of friends, the closest of allies, and each other's best customers. It's the reason that the Chamber's late former CEO, Tom Donahue, who many of you knew well, used to quip, and I quote, "As Canadians, it's imperative that you understand that you aren't just our friends, you're our family." And the reason we know this to be true is that we'd never dare to treat our friends so poorly. So make no mistake, the US business community truly values our close partnership with Canada, with the province of Ontario, and beyond. As companies and organizations, yes, but also deeply on a personal level. We'll appropriately talk about a lot of trade today, but as you know well, our relationship is about so much more. Americans will never forget. A poll last month by the Wall Street, and we already share
faced over.
Let's get to Doug Ford.
First of all, thank you, Neil, and I just want to welcome everyone here today. And before I get started with my speech, just give you a little background. Some know, some don't know. You know, I spent 20 years of my life in the U.S. in our Chicago facility and in our New Jersey facility. I'd travel to every single state, almost every single day. I'd wake up in the morning in a hotel room and a lot of you feel the same way. You wake up and you wonder, where are you? For a second before it snaps in. But I just want to tell you, I love the U.S. I love the American people. I love the Canadian people. And I know Americans I speak to, I know thousands of people, they say the same thing. They love Canada, and Canadians love America.
I would love to find out from someone who worked at that Chicago plant when he was running it, what kind of person he really is. That's what I'd like to know.
So thank you for coming. It's such a real honor to be here today with so many business leaders from Canada and across the United States. Alongside, and I brought a couple of friends, I call them my champions, alongside Vic Fideli, Ontario's Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation, and Trade, and he's instrumental in making sure that both sides of the border see economic development and thrive and prosper and grow. So Vic, if you want to just stand up for a second and say hello. I call Vic my #1 salesperson. I also brought along Stephen Lecce, a great Minister of Energy and Electrification, and he is moving that file forward like we've never seen. We're leaders in the nuclear sector with small modular reactors, and there's no one more we want to send energy to than our friends, our family members in the U.S., as you were saying, Neil, and I've been using that terminology, family members, for forever. So thank you, Stephen, and let's keep working on those SMRs and creating more opportunities for both sides of the border. I couldn't think of a better place to start our mission to Washington than the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And Neil, thank you so much for hosting us and having us by. Over the last few weeks and months, a lot has been said about the strength of the U.S.-Canada relationship. You know, as you were saying, you know, two strongest allies and friends in the world, two treasured allies, and just standing shoulder to shoulder on so many crises that both our countries have faced over decades. Decades of economic growth through free trade, millions of jobs created on both sides of the border, countless lives
Millions of jobs, but we have a 17% youth unemployment rate. You forgot about that.
Sacrificed in battle in defense of our common values. All of this is true. And it's so important to remember everything we've achieved together. But now, more than ever, we need to focus on the future. And we need to be clear, very clear-eyed, about the real risk we're facing right now, about the true trade war we're waging, which is, in my opinion, is totally unnecessary, which will hurt both countries dramatically, about our common economic enemy, and I'll tell you who our common economic enemy is. As the whole world is watching two closest friends about to wage an economic war against each other, the world is watching carefully. A lot of the world is saying, we're next. A lot of the world is sitting back and laughing. And I'll tell you who's sitting back and laughing is China. China's sitting back and thinking we couldn't ask for a better plan than this. Over the last few months, I've met and spoken with senators, congressmen and women, governors from every region of America and from both sides of the aisle. And I'll tell you what they say. They won't say it publicly. They say, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard. And no matter if it's Democrat or Republican, I have yet to hear one elected official down here and say, that's a great idea. Let's attack Canada economically. It's never been said. I've yet to meet one CEO, and I've talked to endless CEOs, say, let's go after Canada. Every single U.S. corporation, their headquarters, for the most part, not all, but a good chunk of them, probably 85%, they're located in Toronto or Ontario somewhere. And the supply chain is so integrated. In these conversations, I've promoted Ontario's close economic partnership with the United States, a relationship built on more than $365 billion in balanced two-way trade. I've never seen anything like it. It's literally split right down the center. Trade that benefits both equally. Ontario is America's third largest trading partner in the world. Just think, and I never recommend this, if Ontario was a standalone country, would be your third largest trading partner in the world. As you were saying, Neil, we're the #1 export destination for 17 states and #2 to 11 others. When I'm on the media, I like saying customer. I'm a business guy. I'm not a politician. And I'm not. I don't see eye to eye with politicians, but that's another whole story. And government drives me crazy. That's another whole story, but we'll chat another day. But that's what I look at it as, you know, you're our largest customer, we're your largest customer. And each and every day, think of this, 9 million Americans wake up to go to work and earn a paycheck by making something that's sold to a customer in Ontario. So they're making products for people in Ontario. Now, what they don't say in this speech is 28 states around the US, their #1 customer is Canada. Ontario has 17 and 11 of #2. In my conversations with US lawmakers, I've also heard serious concerns about China, about how China is ripping off American workers by flooding markets and hijacking global supply chains. America has had enough. American workers have had enough. And I've had enough. In response, US lawmakers are leading the most ambitious economic realignment in the past 100 years. They're decoupling from China and its global proxies. Doing so will be no easy task. It will require long-term thinking. It will require dedication, and most of all, it will require friends and allies like Canada and Ontario, and I can tell you, Canada's here to help. Working together, Canada and the US can be the richest, most successful, safest, most secure two countries on the entire planet when we're working together. We can usher in a new American-Canadian century, what President Trump calls new golden age. We do so by building Fortress AMCAN. Fortress AMCAN is a renewed alliance between America and Canada that's a beacon of stability, security, and long-term economic growth on both sides of the border. First, Fortress AMCAN promotes free, fair, and balanced trade. Fair trade means fighting back against freeloaders that rip off workers by taking advantage of free trade agreements designed to protect jobs at home. I'm talking about China. Together, let's put an end to Chinese transshipments through Mexico into American and Canadian markets. Every member of the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement needs to match or exceed US tariffs on Chinese products. Electric vehicles, batteries, and in particular, aluminum and steel all need matching tariffs. If they fail to do so, they should lose their seat at the table. I always say, if you don't play fair in a deal, no matter if it's business or politics, you should excuse yourself from the table. And let's protect against Chinese investment and ownership in strategically important sectors, such as critical minerals and energy. Canada and the United States and Mexico all need strong, robust investment review processes designed to block Chinese investments aimed at undermining our economies. Second, let's grow the AMCAN economy for AMCAN workers. Fortress AMCAN needs to take action to reshore supply chains, attract investments, and bring good jobs back home for workers on both sides of the border. We do so by streamlining regulations to promote economic integration and by eliminating anti-worker, anti-business taxes. You know, folks, I can tell you, I've been in office for 7 years. I don't believe in taxes.
Anti-worker, anti-business taxes. What is that?
Problem. We have never, ever raised taxes from the day we've been in office. Matter of fact, through great leadership of my friends sitting in the front row, we reduced the cost of doing business in Ontario by $8 billion each and every single year.
What about employment taxes?
Well, I can see there's some Ontario folks in here too clapping because they're getting the benefits of that $8 billion, including by scrapping Canada's digital service tax and the Canadian carbon tax. Those are two terrible taxes, by the way. Third, we need to accelerate strategic resource development. I'm calling for a new AMCAN Critical Mineral Security Alliance, an alliance that invests and builds out American and Canadian critical mineral supply chains, so we're less dependent on China, on Russia, and
so for those of you that may have missed that, that was Doug Ford family. And seems like he's all about the money. This is Marie Styles.
So it is, my name's Catherine Fife. I'm the MPP, or I'm the NDP candidate for the riding of Waterloo. I want to welcome all of you here today. It's very fitting to welcome the next Premier of the province of Ontario to the ETFO location because she was a strong, fierce critic for education, and certainly this government gave her a lot of material to work with. For those of you who don't know Marit, she is her advocacy and her voice brings a level of empathy and compassion to politics which is so needed today. When she's in a room with people, she meets them where they are, she listens intently, and she learns from those experiences. And that is why our policies and our platforms truly reflect the people of this province. It is my pleasure to welcome my friend and the next Premier of Ontario to the podium, Marit Stiles.
Okay. Let's see what you got to say.
Being here with me today, I am just thrilled. It's so good to be here in the Kitchener-Waterloo region and to be joined by our amazing candidates. We've got a great team here as well as workers from across the region. But let me introduce our candidates first. Catherine Fife, of course, needs no introduction, the MPP for Waterloo and our candidate there. Amazing. Marjorie Knight, our candidate in Cambridge. Jody Shymansky, our candidate in Kitchener-Conestoga. And Jeff Dockersgood, our candidate in Kitchener-South Hespeler. Listen, Ontario should be a province that is full of opportunity. A place where you can find a home, where you can easily access world-class healthcare, and where you can get your kids the right support in school, where you can find a good job, and where the basics are affordable. But after 7 long years of Doug Ford, life is more expensive than ever. And here in Kitchener-Waterloo and all across Southwest Ontario and Niagara, we see the impact of a government that has neglected the things that matter most. Over 70,000 people had to turn to a food bank last year in the Kitchener-Waterloo region. Let that sink in, eh? Shameful. Rent has gone up 45% since Doug Ford took office. I just want to say that again. 45% in 7 years.
Say it.
And over 75,000 people right here do not have a family doctor in this region. Ford has failed in Kitchener-Waterloo, and the story is the same across the entire southwest of Ontario. We're in a time where a lot of people are feeling very anxious. They're feeling anxious about their bills, about the rising cost of groceries and other household goods, and what the future holds, especially with everything that's happening right now with Trump's tariffs. As we face this
She's not lying. She's not lying about anything. Anybody that's living in the Ontario area, the Canada area, you see the price of housing has gone up tremendously. The price of groceries, the price of rentals, everything has gone up. And since the pandemic, it's gotten worse. She's not lying.
Unprecedented challenge as a province, Doug Ford quit his job as Premier. But you know what? I'm applying for that job. I'm running to be Premier alongside this extraordinary team to return the promise of more opportunity and more affordability in southwestern Ontario. So today I'm releasing our plan for southwestern Ontario and Niagara because there is so much more that we can do to build up the region and support the families that live here. So this platform is our commitment to you. It's representing, I think, the hard work of our amazing incumbents in this region and also the new ideas of our amazing slate of NDP candidates. Central to our offer is a promise to take on the top issue that people are facing right now, and that is the rising cost of everything. Grocery costs are out of control. So we're going to offer immediate, steady relief for families all across Ontario with a monthly grocery rebate that puts money in your pocket and food on your table. Our rebate will give lower and middle income families extra help each month to pay for groceries and to make ends meet. A family of 4 could get up to $122 back every month. That's over $1,400 per year for families across cities and towns all across the southwest of Ontario.
That's not even
We're going to
1
help
month's
with the
rent.
cost of housing as well. And we're going to bring back real rent control because it's about time, you know, to protect tenants and to keep costs from climbing. Because the biggest expense that families are facing every year is the increasing cost of rent. And when it comes to Trump's tariff actions, we are going to protect jobs. I always say, and I'm going to say it again here, I will fight like hell for every single job in Ontario, and I will defend every single one. Here in Kitchener-Waterloo, we're going to support the innovation sector. It's grown right here in this region, and it is world-renowned. We are proud of it. We're going to invest in all the things that attract more business, more talent, and the next generation of innovators. Things like affordable homes, good schools, including strong post-secondary institutions, strong public transit, a high quality of life. We're also going to support our world-class agricultural sector, because that's how we put made in Ontario food on the table.
I agree with that.
We're going to protect farmland, we're going to keep the sector strong, and we're going to support the next generation of farmers. Our Buy Ontario Procurement Directive, which I have to give our MPP, Catherine Fife, our finance critic, so much credit for this. Our Buy Ontario Procurement Directive is going to help create new jobs across sectors, including our homegrown tech sector, and help scale up businesses to reach new markets. And as your next premier, I'll set things right in Kitchener-Waterloo and across southwestern Ontario and Niagara region. This election is an opportunity. We can turn the page on 7 long years of Doug Ford, and we can elect a government who will be on your side. I am ready to make that happen. I am so happy to be here with all of you, and now I'd like to introduce John Tarp, President of the United Steelworkers Local.
All right. So we heard from all of the candidates. We heard from Doug Ford. We heard from Merritt Stiles. We heard from Bonnie Crombie. And we heard from Mike Schneider. One thing I can say that I saw is that 3 out of the 4 candidates readily agree there's a problem with all of the things I suggested at the beginning of this show. There's a problem with healthcare, there's a problem with housing, there's a problem with employment, there's a problem with taxes. It appears that 3 out of the 4 candidates are ready to do something about that. The problem is that the party that Doug Ford represents, I believe he's a conservative, is the strongest opposition to the party that's in power right now. And if we think back into time, all of these issues began with the Conservative Party. And all of our issues with employment and education and housing all began with Mike Harris. He was the beginning of this. He was the one that started this. And so it's because of Mike Harris that we even entertain somebody like Doug Ford. And quite frankly, many of us believe, shout out to everybody tuning in, go ahead and tap a like, share the screen. Everybody who knows Ontario politics knows that Doug Ford was voted for based on the merits of his brother, Rob, rest in peace. It's not because he's loved or even liked. It's because his brother was so dearly loved that people assumed they would be getting his brother if they voted him into power. He really didn't have much of a platform. And if you take a look at the way his family is being treated, you know, I mean, you have his daughter starting a GoFundMe account looking for money. Again, his brother, his dead brother's wife, you know, he's not helping her either. If you do that to family, what will you do to a stranger? We got to be careful of the people that we're putting into power, because at the end of the day, they're going to make the major decisions that can affect your life and my life in the most drastic way. And we see that, as she said, a 45% increase in housing costs, no rent control, no building codes. You got condominiums being built that are caving in, not even a year after being built. The lack of accountability, the lack of respect for the general public, all of these things we should be looking at more carefully. And we should consider ourselves, our family, our health, our job, all of that. We should consider those things when voting for the next person or premier or prime minister. Think of those things. Consider that first before you consider anything else. And remember, some of these candidates already have a seat in the House. What's their track record? What did they approve? What did they deny? Sometimes it's good to find those things out. Do a little bit of research. Because the same person that's telling you, I will fight for this, could be somebody who's actually fighting against it. Gotta do a little bit of CSI when it comes to the voting. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, family, you don't know, it's Come Mek We Chat, and like I said, I always love to do a little bit of a musical interlude from time to time, because in this crazy world that we live in, sometimes it's only a little bit of music that can keep you sane, you know? And I have quite a few musicians that I respect and love, but there's one who just touches my heart in a different way. Shout outs to everybody tuning in the room. Go ahead and like and share. We're just getting to the segment of the show where we're about to have a quick musical interlude, and I am gonna bless y'all with some classical music, classical hits, music that is timeless and should be remembered. You know? Yeah. Just checking if how my sauna work. The sauna work? Alright. Just I have to make sure my sound is working here. Yeah, so let's kick it off.
Here I come again, Jaja. Before your presence we singing. Yeah. Lord, watch over our shoulders tonight and help us live our words tomorrow. Let's not forget where we're from.
All right. When it's nice, we gotta play it twice like sugar and spice. Yeah?
Here I come again, Jaja. Before your presence we singing. Yeah. Lord, watch over our shoulders tonight and help us live our words tomorrow. Let's not forget where we're from, Father, show us the way to go.
This is Garnet Silk.
Feed my enemies and I'm gonna do it. You said I shouldn't hate or grudge and I won't, not even for a minute. Let only truth come from my lips. Bless our souls, cause without you we can't make it. Lord, watch over our shoulders tonight and help us live our words tomorrow. Let's not forget where we're from, Father, show us the way to go. You're the wind beneath my wings, see me through all little things. You lifted me when I was down, now you have me standing on higher ground. Lord, watch over our shoulders tonight and help us live our words tomorrow. Let's not forget where we're from, Father, show us the way to go. How excellent is thy name, deliver us from sin and shame. Out of the mount of babe and suckling, you have ordained strength. Oh, Jah, I'm depending on you. Oh, no other help I know. Oh, Jah, I'm depending on you. Oh, no other help I know. You're the only way.
Go ahead and like the live, family. Like the live. Like and share. Like and share.
Please don't go away, Lord. Lord, watch over our shoulders tonight and help us live our words tomorrow. Let's not forget where we're from, Father, show us the way to go. You said I must love and feed my enemies and I'm gonna do it. You said I shouldn't hate or grudge and I won't, not even for a minute. Let only truth come from my lips. Bless our souls, Lord, without you we can't make it. Lord, watch over our shoulders tonight and help us live our words tomorrow. Let's not forget where we're from, Father, show us the way to go. You're the wind beneath my wings, see me through all little things. You lift.
Yes, family, that's Garnet Silk. One of the greatest in reggae music. Yeah, man.
Let's not forget.
I think some of that is what's missing in today's society. I remember, during the week after school, you normally see or hear these old tunes playing, especially on a Sunday. And it just seems like now you don't hear them anymore. It's always some kind of hardcore music. And maybe that has contributed to why the world is so dark now, because nobody plays those conscious, music like they used to. And maybe they should. Maybe they should. We need to get back to the point of consciousness, because some of we youth them unconscious, they're missing out on the beauty of life. And so with that, I want to play one of my favorite artists. Goes by the name of Dennis Brown.
Fighting against oppression, ooh yeah.
chosen.
Many are called, few are chosen. Ooh, yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. Yeah, man. It's a revolution, you know? And some people are just not ready to fight the good fight yet. But yeah, some of us are here, battling it out in the Gideon, as they say. So there, this is Come Mek We Chat, family. You don't know, we looked at all of the candidates that are on the political spectrum here for Ontario that are running for office. Who are you going to vote for? What are you looking to get for your family? What are you looking to get out of your politician? I said it before. Healthcare, lower employment taxes, reasonable housing, affordable housing, and affordable government services. And stop selling the government services. How about that? Let the government be responsible for licensing and this and that and transit. And let the government stay in control of that. Don't sell it to private people because you're just begging for corruption. So yeah, where's everybody tuning in from today? Where y'all tuning in from? Where is everybody tuning in from today? I see that I have 2 people in the room, 1,000 people just watching. Flowers and powers, big up yourself. And over here on UU and YouTube, looks like I have a few people here. I got some over here on Twitch. How is everybody doing today? This is what you call global. Shit everywhere. How's everybody doing? How do you feel about these upcoming elections? What do you think? Who's your favorite candidate? I ain't got much more time left. I only got a little 2-hour limit here today. I'm trying to get that. Yeah. Who's your favorite candidate? Me personally, I'm looking at the Green Party. I think the Green Party has the most to offer. They've never had a chance yet. And I'm thinking if we give them the chance, we might not be disappointed. I can't say that about any other party. Because they've all had a shot at the office and were unable to make it happen. Am I a political person? No. But whoever gets voted into power, whether I like it or not, affects how I live. So I'm hoping that the best man wins. Yeah? Bless up yourself, Cyborg. Big up yourself. My that works in the building. One side gorilla, big up yourself. I'm here, like I said, to talk the thing that when nobody no one talk about. I'm here to have an open and honest discussion about things that people want to talk about, but just don't talk about. And I want people to feel comfortable talking up here too. So a recap. We went over Black History Month. It was amazing. We discussed policies. We heard from all of the political candidates. none of whom I believe are worthy, except maybe one, and that's the Green Party, but that's my personal opinion. You may feel differently. And we sat back and we listened to some good music. Now, I want to turn into some other artists that I believe you should hear. Because in this business, I have an opportunity to be around a lot of talent. A lot that may not be noted. They may not be popular. But one thing you can't take away from them is that they are talented. There's a lot of talent in Toronto. The only problem is that the mainstream media doesn't promote it, doesn't highlight it the way everybody else in the world does. But there's a lot of talent just sitting. And they shouldn't sit.
Out of my way, pigeons.
And so, I'm gonna find an artist here and give him a highlight. All right, let's get to it. Overcome obstacles. In this life, you have to survive. This is the Midnight Run Rhythm family. Yours truly. This life is not easy. We were born to survive. We are survivors. I'm a survivor in the night. Shine so bright. There's a fire burning in me. You don't want to ignite. Most high upon my mind. Man, I go waste my time. This is not about no money. You barely need a strike. See the fire in my eyes. I got that by my side. I'm a survivor. Man, I go run, man, I go hide. Bully pa wickedness. I go around, yeah. Evil like them, I keep round, yeah. Them the teammates when I want round. Hold on, the whole line there. When it's nice, we gotta play it twice like sugar and spice. In this life, musical hits to make you jump and twist. Yeah. Overcome obstacles, face your fears. This life is not easy. We were born to survive. We are survivors. I'm a survivor in the night. Shine so bright. There's a fire burning in me. You don't want to ignite. Most high upon my mind. Man, I go waste my time. This is not about no money. You barely need a strike. See the fire in my eyes. I got that by my side. I'm a survivor. Man, I go run, man, I go hide. Only pa wickedness I go around, yeah. Evil like them I keep round, yeah. Them the teammates when I want round, yeah. Overboard fling that round, yeah. Drop them a tick, nobody start tap it. Clean up your heart, that's show you the habits. Worldwide people are acting. Yeah. Now see God, them a move psychotic. Man for yeah, man. Them have children. Do it in a life, it a go. Yeah, man. Little musical interlude, you know. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you gotta do it like that, you know. You gotta switch up the medley and the portfolio and diversify your accounts and blah 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 blah. Yeah. So that one is called Survivor off of the Midnight Run Rhythm. produced by yours truly. You see me? And me not gonna stop at one. You know, me definitely not gonna stop at one. I'm gonna introduce to you a next artist on the rhythm. This artist is called Zerbo. You see me?
Ready, be ready now. Ready, be ready now. Now stop pray, I say. Yeah. Oh, get to youths, yeah. Say don't stop pray.
Zerbo Ras.
Say get to youths, don't stop pray. Jaja I go answer we prayer someday. Long time you want them necessary. Long time you want feel live irate.
Hold up. When it's nice. Yeah man, we play it twice. See it then? Zerbo Ras.
Now stop pray, I say. Yeah. Oh, get to youths, yeah. Say don't stop pray, yeah. Say get to youths, don't stop pray. Jaja I go answer we prayer someday. Long time you want them necessary. Long time you want feel live irate. Say every youth man say you know we have to free. Every youth man say you know we have to free. Say no wicked man me say we.
Zerbo Ras that man. And the man I tell we get to youths them. Don't stop pray. You see me no care what. You know, say the Most High will guide you right through. And I don't tell you already said, me not stop at one, right? So now I want you to take a listen to the man with them called Ray Ras. You see me? Yeah.
Yeah, man. Them for no say a Ray Ras, you know? Big up the Toronto girl them. Canadian, worldwide. Don't know so we are no girl guide. Big up Mad LinQz. Them for no say a Mad LinQz. Alright. Tell them say enough girl we have to see, enough girl we get. Everywhere we go I be a girl I take set. Enough girl we have to see, enough girl we get. Girl like Palette, Susan Tandy, one named Danette. Enough girl we have to see, enough girl we get. Everywhere we go I be a girl I take set. Enough girl we have to see, enough girl we get. Girl like Palette, Susan Tandy, one named Danette. Everywhere we go the girl them a follow we. Girl a shape up and girl them a color we. Girl a 5 cent, 10 cent dollar me. And them a see me a come say them want swallow me. Everywhere me go me say the girl them a look out. Them want barbecue and them will want cook out. Because something come make Ray Ras smoke it out. Me a bad man and me nah them it out. Car enough girl we ever see, enough girl we get. Everywhere we go I be a girl I take set. Enough girl we ever see, enough girl we get. Girl like Palette, Susan.
Yeah man, that's Ray Ras. You see me? On the midnight run rhythm. And me tell you say, me not stop at one, right? Me not stop at one. So coming up next, let me see who I can find next. Bow, 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 bow.
And the one named Danette. Enough girl we ever see, enough girl we get. Everywhere we go I be a girl I take set. Enough girl we ever see.
Okay. Let me see who else I can find. Yeah man, we have to take with time and do the thing. And heal the king.
Bill, well, you're not going to make me eat this.
Right? if you kill me with the commercial then, but it's okay. This is Ghetto President. Midnight Run Rhythm, you see me? Yeah, man.
You know, tired of the idiot thing, you know. Want to have to put a stop it yourself.
Big up the Ghetto President anyway, you're the king.
Too much gunshot of fire and people are dead. All me can see a bloodshed. Wonder when the place I got better and people not dead. All me can see a bloodshed. Education at the key. Get a youth off a wall up head. All me can see a bloodshed. Monday you're hungry, you hustle for the bread instead. All me can see a bloodshed. Hard work when I put in, forget the success. Never sell out for them Gucci or guess. Staying on my lane, straight forward my press. Them I work for the devil, but I'm me, judge I bless. Enough of them vex, become a change up the flex. Well focused on the mission, me no stress. Tired of the duff, got tired of me the rest. And next up, we make them youth and now meds. Too much gunshot.
Man, that's the real Ghetto President, you see me? And you know, so it's a full melody. So I have to introduce the artist here to this is so bad. You see me? Yeah, man. Real bad artist.
Hey, Madlings. I agree, you know the realest. I so bad. Big up all of the real weed smoker them, you know. Toronto, everything free. Long time we Asian, I'm a fight for this. Hey, me love how with feeling on me head. Me no take pill, I agree on me meds. Love how with feeling on me head. We no take pill, I agree that we meds. Love how with feeling on me head. Feeling on me head. Love how with feeling on me head. How with feeling on me head. Me love weed like the pig me the Macango. Give you an example. Oh, weed make you smart like Leroy. Crack and cocaine will make you mad like Andrew. Me and me girl and weed in a big love triangle. Me a weed slave like Django. Get a good high grade last night. Me had a beat like a bango. Even if 2 foot start to tango. Good high grade make you choke like you a get strangled. Bush weed taste bad like some sunripe mango. Me no like me zigzag ramble. But if you can find no more rude boy, thank you. Love how it feeling on me head. Me no take pill, I grade on me meds. Love how it feeling on me head. Me no take pill, I grade on me meds. Love how it feeling on me head. Now it feeling on me head. Love how it feeling on me head. How it feeling on me head. Alright, from me have you in on me hand. Of course me can hold a firm meditation. Cause when you catch a fire you can heal the nation. From the day me met it till today, come on now you me got to up. My mother never like you must start bow me that. But enough time you drive me from doing wrong. If sit down with you a whole of meditation. Just the way how you spell drive enough people man. Was found on the grave of King Solomon.
Yes, family, that is the Midnight Run Rhythm. Available everywhere. Go grab yourself a copy. And on that note, you know your girl is gonna wrap it up. I have been on here for a minute. You don't know me say who that me that I represent the T that my Rasta. Big up yourself, family, every time. Yeah, man.